In the world of AI, data is absolutely everything. But managing it all, that's where things get complicated. So, how do you handle all that data in a way that's both super efficient and super safe? Well, today we're going to dig into something called the SAFE approach, a framework that's designed to do exactly that. Let's pull this diagram apart and see what makes it tick.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. At first glance, this looks like a lot. But what we're really seeing here is a brilliant solution to one of the biggest headaches in data today. How do you get the speed of automation to play nice with the careful oversight of, actual humans? This whole framework is about letting the machines do the heavy lifting while keeping people firmly in the driver's seat. It's really a story of two different frameworks working together in perfect harmony.
So, everything kicks off with this first pillar, the business contract. Think of this as setting the ground rules of the game before anyone even touches the data. It's the foundation of trust for everything else that's about to happen. Now, this is where it gets really clever. The framework actually splits the contract itself into two separate layers. On one side, you have the automated part. That's the how. It's all about the technical nuts and bolts. And on the other side, you've got the human sign-off layer, which is all about the why, the business goals, and the legal green light. So let's talk about that automated layer. This thing is the engine, the absolute workhorse of the whole operation. It's using tech we're all familiar with, like HTTPS, for secure communication. But it also brings in cool stuff like blockchain to keep data consumption totally transparent, and something called MCP, or Model Context Protocol, which basically makes sure that AI models have all the right info to do their jobs properly. This layer just executes. It handles the technical stuff automatically, which makes the whole thing run incredibly fast. But let's be real, pure automation can be a little scary, right? You don't want to trade safety for speed. And that's exactly why this human layer is so critical. You can think of it as the conscience of the system. It uses simple stuff like SMTP, yep, just regular old email, for things that need a real person to say yes. This is where lawyers make things legally binding, where auditors check that everything's above board, and where experts decide how to handle sensitive data. It makes sure the why behind every single action is solid. Okay, so we've got the rules of the road all set. Now we can move on to the second pillar, the data exchange. This part is all about the asset itself, the data. And it's a pretty amazing journey from being just raw stuff into a genuinely refined insight. And this slide just illustrates that journey perfectly. Over on the left, you have the raw data layer. Just think of this as pure, untapped potential. It's messy, it's complicated, but it's packed with possibility. Then, on the right, you get the insight layer, and that is the finished product, clean, structured, and ready to deliver some serious value. So the whole process starts here, in the raw data layer. This is the wild world of big data, of real-time streams of messy, unstructured info. We're talking about things like embeddings and vectors, which are just fancy ways of turning concepts into numbers so AI can understand them. We've got graph data to map out complex relationships. It is chaotic, for sure. But this is where all the good stuff comes from. Then all that raw potential gets funneled right here, into the insight layer. This is where the magic really happens. All that messy data gets cleaned up, normalized, and neatly organized into structured databases using trusty, powerful tools like SQL. This is literally how you turn that chaos into clean tables, useful insights, and even predictions about the future. So we've looked at the two pillars, right? One for setting the rules and one for managing the data. So the big question is, how do these two totally separate parts come together and act like one seamless system? Well, it boils down to this really simple but incredibly powerful two-step process. First, you use the business contract framework to set up a trusted agreement. You get your automated guardrails and your human oversight all locked in. Then, and only then, do you move on to the data exchange framework to actually manage the data itself, all while following the rules you just set up. And that right there is the crucial point. It's this beautiful separation of concerns. This is the big idea. You have one framework that is completely dedicated to managing the agreement, the contract, the permissions, the rules. And then you have a second, totally separate framework that's specialized in managing the asset, the data's journey from raw potential to a valuable product. So let's zoom out. This isn't just some technical diagram, okay? It's really a blueprint for how we can build trust in a world that's getting more and more automated. Let's wrap up by just thinking about the bigger picture here and what a framework like this really makes possible. By drawing a really clear line between what machines do and what humans do, the SAFE approach gives us a fantastic model for how to innovate responsibly.
It gets that AI can handle tasks at lightning speed, but it also accepts that human judgment, our ethics, and our intent, well, those are irreplaceable. And that leaves us with a really important question for the future, doesn't it? As our AI gets smarter and more autonomous, how do we make sure this balance between machine speed and human wisdom continues to work for us while still unlocking all that amazing potential?